What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another recap of SPY on the day. We're going to be taking a look at how SPY did today, the trades that I took, all the solid trades that I do see today on the 21st of December. So let's get right on into it and not waste any more time. So I'm going to try to make this as beginner friendly for everybody that doesn't know my style very well, because I do understand that there are people that are not familiar with the way I trade, and I'm trying to make sure that people understand that as best as they can. Okay, so I trade support and resistance lines, and my main setups that I do look for are breaks of my old resistance lines, retests as support, or breaks of old supports and retest as new resistance. Okay, so I chart all of my levels starting from pre-market. Then I chart the levels that I see that happen intraday, and then I take trades off of specific levels, okay, on the other side on the retest. Okay, so I'll explain more as the day goes on today. Okay, so in blue, I always chart my pre-market levels. All right, so today I had 6 levels in pre-market. We had a vivid level of support right here. In two places we bounced. 1, 2. Okay. I had another level of support right here. We had 1, 2, 3. This area had some good bouncing. We had a solid level of resistance right here and a level of support right here. Okay. So if a area gets tested as a resistance and support at the same time, that indicates to you that that level is highly valuable and may be tested more throughout the day. It rejected as resistance and it bounced as support. There's a lot of things going on at that level, which means it is likely to be, when it's retested again, to be bounced or rejected off again. We had another level of resistance right here. Now, the reason I don't put this resistance up here, we have more of these candles bouncing off here, and then we have a support right here on these candles. So that, makes this line more valuable than this line, because this line doesn't have anything here going on, while this level, maybe it doesn't catch those candles, but it catches this, okay, and some of these, all right? If I were in a trade, I would be mindful that we have some resistance here, but I'm putting my lines in the areas that I think most have seen the most touches throughout, whatever time I'm looking at it, okay? I only use lines from the pre-market and the day. I don't start going charting lines that happened, years ago or months ago or whatever, okay? All that does is that, in my opinion, it clutters my chart, and it creates more of a mess, because you have thousands of lines of resistance and support that happened months ago. Okay, the only time that I do that is if I'm in an area that I don't have any pre-market levels and I don't have any levels throughout that day. All right, so once we broke this pre-market range, I don't have any levels here, but I'm never going to take an entry off of a level that was created long ago. I may use it for profit taking or things like that, but I will never use it to enter. Okay, so again, these were my pre-market levels. I had another level right here because we found some resistance right before open. We have found some support right here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 major rejections, bounces here, and 2 rejections right here. All right, right before the market opened. This is only 1 bounce, so I'm putting my line not here but here. We had a massive rejection on the top right here, so that's my next line. All right, these was my lines going into the market. Okay, now the way I trade is I look to see one of my resistance lines get broken, and then I want to see us come down and take an entry for calls on the retest. This is one example. Same thing for the other side. We have a support level right here. If we were to break this, come up and retest it, I would be looking to take a put entry. Okay. However, kind of that's the basics if you're new to my entire strategy. And if you want to learn more exactly about how I trade, make sure to join the Discord linked in the description. We do live calls You can ask any questions in my DMs, in the chat. And we have the people that are starting to learn this system are seeing real success. And, I really think it's a valuable way to trade. All right. So now let's go through the trades that I see today. All right. So we have a level of resistance right here. All right. I'm looking at the most recent time we found resistance. So when this is happening, I'm looking at the most recent time we found resistance right here. And I'm looking for this resistance to turn into support. So what happens here, we break through this level of resistance. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, I would have most likely put this line on this body because I chart my levels on the bodies of the candle, not on the wicks. So I would have it right here, all right, somewhere around here. And once we approach this level, I would be looking to take a call entry, all right. We basically did that with this candle. We came within 5 cents of our line, and I think this is a very solid call entry right here. This is an example of a losing trade. I show both the winning trades and the losing trades. I don't sugarcoat it. I show you both, everything, okay? This right here is, a good entry. We had more volume on the candle that pushed us through that level than on the candle that came to that level. All right. I would have entered on this candle and I would have gone stopped out right after this candle printed. All right. My stop is right below this level, this wick right here. All right. While this candle was printing, I was waiting to see it close, and it got here, then it got sucked back up. If it got sucked back up right over this line up to here, I would have stayed in the trade. But no, it closed here, so I'm out. All right. So that's an example of one trade that I see today that was pretty nice, and it's a trade that you would have gotten stopped out on. Okay, 5% max right here. You lost right here. You lost 10 cents, even less. You got an entry at about 35, 38. You got out at 25, 10, 15 cents. It's no big deal. But the people that hold this and pray and wish are the people that lose. And maybe one time it'll work for you, but if you get in the habit of not cutting your stop loss when you need to cut your stop loss, you will get in the habit of, you will get into a bad habit that is very hard to break. Very hard to break that habit. This brings me to my next entry. We find a trend line right here, 1, 2, 3, all these wicks on this candle. I would have entered calls for the move up. Now, if I did enter calls right here, where would I want to scale some of my position? On my next line, all right? I would have scaled some here. My next level of scaling would be right through this candle because of this line, and my target would be this level of resistance. This is pre-market high. This is a level of resistance right here. So we are likely to find some resistance along here. I don't know, but I'm looking to take some profits. All right. I did want to quickly mention, I did forget to mention this when I was talking about this trade. And the reason I personally did not take this trade, this one right here. Okay, I forgot to mention this. When I see a candlestick pattern like this, where we make a move up, we have these wicks on the top, we reject, right? But after we reject, we try to make a move up. We only go a little bit above, right, our resistance level, only a little bit above. We get rejected right back down. This suggests to you that buyers tried to step in after that pullback. They failed, and more sellers won here. When I see this, I usually don't like to take entries on that pullback back to my resistance or whatever it is. Same thing for a support, all right? Whenever I see a candlestick pattern that looks like this, I usually don't like to take entries. I have found that it fails more times than if it would have come up and just rejected right back down. So if we didn't see this green candle, if we just came down like this, that would have been a much more appealing entry, and I would have probably taken it. Because logically what this means is we rejected, but buyers went up. They weren't able to push it up higher, it got rejected right back down to this level, and we pushed through with selling pressure. So back to this trade, you would have gotten, this would be your price target, okay? Now this is the best trade of the day, okay? It's so simple. We have a resistance level, we break through. Now pay attention to volume. Look at this massive volume on this candle that pushes us through. Massive volume, all right? All right. Then you see us pull back with 2 candles. I don't like 1 candle pullbacks. I want to see a pretty good retracement. This isn't the best retracement, but I like to see 2 to 3 candles at least. 3 is even better, because I find that when we have 1 candle pullback, it usually only goes up for a little bit, and if it even does go up, right? But we do get that pullback back to this resistance level. You would take your entry on this red candle. This red candle has less volume than this green candle. This means there are more buyers in this area. This means the probability of us going up from here is higher than us going down from there. It's very simple. Now, this wick should not have stopped you out. I play candle closes for my stops. All right. On this trade, my stop loss would have been this wick right here. All right. It would have been a close below that wick. If we came down, we closed candle, the body closed here, I would have been all out of my trade. But it did not close here. It only wicked off from here. So I am staying in this trade. So we find, we reject right here. If you entered calls here, where would you want to scale the first portion of your position? At this resistance. Because we recently just rejected from here. So you're looking to take some profit on this candle. Now we move up. All right. You're looking to take profit as we're moving up, because we really don't have much levels here. If you want to go and chart some levels that were here in previous days, feel free to do that for areas where you want to take profit. But if you don't want to do that, that's fine. You can just take profit every, candle that keeps moving up. All right? Because you really don't have much levels here to play off of. You don't have a target because this is uncharted territory. All right? But if you want to help yourself to find some levels to take profit, you can, of course, go to some previous days. For example, if we go here, you'll notice that we have some resistance here at 384.91. And you could be like, all right, 384.91. 384.91. All right? Yeah, you could have taken some profit right here. Okay? But if you see right here, we're rejecting, you want to take some profits, that's what you should be doing when there's no more charting territory, right? Again, very awesome call entry. You could have played this all the way up. Massive gainer, all right? Again, at this point, I was not able to trade, and I did not take these specific setups. But already 3 awesome setups to start the day, Now, what was I going to say here? Okay, so this whole move, there are no good entries. We don't have any good level of resistance on a pullback. No good entries here. However, right here, we have a level of resistance right here with those bodies. We make a move up. We come back down to this level for a call entry for the move up. If you took calls here, you want to scale some at this level of resistance, as well as this level of resistance and all these levels that you want to be scaling as we move up. All right. Now we move down, we start rejecting. Now this is where novice traders fail. They take entries because they feel like the market is going somewhere. They have that feeling that we are likely to reject right now, or we're likely to come down. There is no reason to take puts right on this candle because it looks like we're rejecting, or to even take puts right here or right here. There are so many people taking puts because it looks like we're coming down. And in this case, if you did take puts around here, you could have had a solid trade. But you have no idea how many times the market tricks you and we make a move up. It happens all the time. We start consolidating. Everybody's like, yeah, this looks like a head and shoulders. Let's move down. And you take puts, and it continues trending up. And the bad traders, they stay, they bag hold, and they end up losing $1,000 and 100% of their account. All right? You do not see me losing a lot of money. The biggest losses that I ever have on my positions is like 10%. When my candle that I entered off of closes a little too far from my entry, if I have a very big candle that closes, that's my biggest loss. I don't hold my position if it's off 20 cents from my entry. I don't sit and pray for my position to go my way. I take an entry off a specific level, and that is it. All right, now I'm going to go to my next entry right here, okay? So, this right here, we have this level of resistance, and this is one of my flag plays, okay? You have 3 pieces of conviction right here, I never take entries, as I just said, off of patterns. But we do have an inverse head and shoulders right here, which usually means we're moving down. I don't take an entry just because of that. This is just helping me realize that we might make a move down here. Now I realize we have a good level of resistance right here. I also realize that we have some good volume on this candle that pushes us through that resistance. Okay? Some nice volume. I also notice that we have a trend line, a micro trend line, that gets broken on this candle. Okay? Then I notice, that we retest that level for an entry for puts. Now, this wouldn't be called a patient Potshot setup if you have my PDF, because for the patient Potshot, I'm looking at the most recent support that would turn into resistance. This is just a combination of price action, a pattern, my flag play, and kind of a support and resistance trade. We have that pattern. We have this flag, okay? I don't draw my flag like this. I draw it where it starts, okay, to where we start, curling up. We have this trend line. It gets broken, and then it gets retested. You can even call this a two-way street strat, a retest of the trend line on the other side. But the most important thing about taking a trade like this is keeping in mind that if you enter here, your stop loss is this wick and a close above it. All right? Even if you take an entry off of, let's say you don't know how to chart your levels and you take an entry puts right here. All right? Or no, let's just do a better example. You take puts right here because you don't know how to chart lines and you're just a bad trader at that point. You just take puts right here because you want to. If you are having a good risk management system, you took pots off that level, you're out when this candle closes right here. Because it closed above your level, you're out. So even if your levels are a little bit off, as long as you get out and get stopped right above your level, very close, within a wick, that's close, this wick right here, that would be my stop, you're going to be all set. If you take 4 trades a day with one contract each, you're learning, and you get stopped with $5 on each trade, on each contract, you lost $20. It's no big deal. All right? The problem is when people lose so much money because they don't have a freaking stop loss. And this is what I try to preach, and people still bag hold and, don't get out when they need to get out. All right? So, that's that right there. This right here, pretty nice setup off of this support. All right? First of all, we have a trend line right here. So this is by itself from that trend line. It's a solid play. We also have a support that gets retested as resistance for a move down. All right? I'm looking at the most recent time. The most recent, we had a support, and now it's turning into resistance. Now, this is the trade that I took. This is what I'm going to talk about now. We had a very solid level of support on the bodies. All these 1, 2 majors bounces, 3 bounce, 4 bounce, 5 bounce. This is a good level. I was looking to see us make a move down, us make a move back up here, and a move down. Now, when I saw this pullback, I was like, this looks kind of choppy. Again, I like to see a move down And I like to see a slow retraced pullback to this level without us chopping here. This is very similar to what happened here. We made a move down. We tried to move higher, but failed. We found a support. We tried to move lower, but then we failed. All right. This does not look very good for an entry off this level. That's why I took a lotto position. I was looking to get a trade. I still felt this was a good level of support that could turn into resistance. This is why I took a lotto trade. I was half sized on this position. Okay. Now, I also noticed we have a trend line right here. So what I did is I made my stop a little bit wider because I was half sized. Instead of having my stops on a close above this wick right here, I set my stop loss at a close above the trend line, taking my entry off here with a stop set of a close above this trend line. What happened was we rejected right here. This candle went down, shooting right fast, right back down, and I stayed in my trade. Ended up with closing my position right here at this level of support. I entered here. This was my price target because we found support in this area. So if I'm in puts, I'm expecting us to bounce along this area. This is why I'm taking profits here. All right. However, as this move was going down, I did scale some at this support and at that support, and then I got all out when we pushed right through that level. 20% trade. All right. Very solid move. The only trade I took today, I'm in school. I'm not able to take a lot of trades, but I did take this trade, and it turned out to be a solid move. All right. Moving on, another good setup. We have a trend line right here. This is the two-way street setup. We break, we retest the trend line for a move up. All right. Now, this is a trade that I wanted to talk about, which is the only trade that I see today that is solid, that's really a losing trade. After this, to be honest, the market was just chopping around, and I don't really see much good right here. All right. So what happens here? We have a good level of resistance. It was resistance right here, and I would have taken this trade. We break above. We have some solid volume. Okay. We move down. We have less volume on the candle that brings us back down to that resistance. Then on the candle that pushes us through. Okay. So, it's a pretty solid setup. I would have entered right here, and I would have got stopped out at this candle close right here. Okay. No big deal. However, something that I think that I could have done better when thinking about this, I did not take this trade, but I would have probably taken this if I was trading myself. But the reflection that I am giving myself off of this trade and why I think it might have not worked is, again, I like to see a move through my resistance and then a slow retracement back with just one good move. Here, we found us go down, we got bought back up into here, and we created a double top situation, which is pretty bearish. So now I'm taking note. I am learning through these new market conditions as well. Market conditions change, and I'm adapting as well. And I think that I might start only taking setups where I see a move up and just a retracement down without a double top formation forming like this, with a top right here and a top right here. All right? I might take this into consideration. Just like I now know that whenever we have a move like this happening, it is much more likely to fail. All right? So again, even if you did take this entry, you got stopped out here. All right? So if you took this entry and you only took the entry that I took, you're still in awesome green. If you took this entry, there are a ton of entries playing simple trend lines and simple break and retests. Okay? After this, we chopped around. Now, why would I not take calls right here? We have a resistance, we break, we retest. All right? If you notice, the candle that pushes us through, look at how little volume this candle has. All right? Just look at how little volume this candle has. It has absolutely no volume. Now, if you look at the candle that comes and approaches this, it has more volume. Even the candle before that. This candle had so little volume that I was not very positive about this move. On top of that, you can see the same pattern as you saw right here. All right. We reject, we move down, we try to move higher, but we only go up a little bit and we get bought back down. We get sold right back down. This is why this was not a good entry right here for calls. Right, after this, we chopped around, and the market is currently 10 minutes away from closing. We're chopping around. I'm not really liking all this price action, to be honest. Don't really like any of this. We're kind of chopping. No good retests. We have a ton of levels in the day. Too much support and resistance. Not really liking it. Awesome setup right here. Awesome setups in the morning for the downside on this move down. This one right here especially. All right. So definitely some very solid setups playing my style. That kind of wraps it up for me. Yeah, so if you guys do want to learn more about my style, make sure to join the Discord. I teach everything about my system in there in more detail. I give live spy alerts, all for free. It's 100% for free. I'm really trying to teach you guys how to play from level to level with good risk management and all of that. Also, if you do not yet have my free PDF, which details my entire system, if you are still confused on the way I trade, then all of that is also in the Discord, and I do weekly releases for free. So make sure you guys join the Discord for that. Okay. I've already released 30 copies. I think it's actually I've already released almost 40. So a lot of people already have it, but I'm gonna keep on releasing some more copies. As this year is coming to an end. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, if I provided any value for you, if you guys enjoy this content, make sure to smash a quick thumbs up on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. And you do want to see more videos like this, make sure to click that subscribe button. And make sure to ask any questions in the comments. I'll be answering all of those, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.